Testing the mic. Okay. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing, Ryan?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic. Here's Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, how you doing?
Not bad. And yourself?
Well, same. Not bad. Stumbling, bumbling, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just cleaning my glasses so I can actually see something.
You like my face?
What about your face?
What about my face?
Yeah,
The nose, the
the
forehead.
nose. What happened there?
I literally tripped
Fell?
over Parker, Jack, in the middle of the night
Parker?
on the way to the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
Scraped my face on the rug.
Oh my goodness. Well, there are rug burns and there are rug burns.
These are rug burns.
Yes. Oh, poor doggy, poor you.
Well, poor doggy, no. All right.
How's Lila?
Lila's great. She's sitting over here, lying on the couch.
Is yeah.
Probably waiting for me to turn the television on, but I'm not going to do that.
No. Or does she need, you could turn it on mute and then she could watch the pictures.
This is true. We have a dog that watches television.
Moosh used to watch doggy shows.
Oh yeah, she perks up with the dogs come on.
Yeah. Huh. So actually, I'm just putting on my Apple Watch because I just washed my face, and I bought it because it has a fall detector. So this isn't pertinent to Ryan because he's a young thing, but for us old decrepit sorts, if you fell, unless you stop it from doing so, it will automatically call EMS.
Lovely.
It detects acute changes in altitude by GPS.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
Like 5 foot tall, cute changes.
Yeah, like a person falling. Yeah.
Wow.
That's really impressive and quite
It
useful.
is. It is. I mean, it's got every other bells and whistle, but that's why I bought it. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So I looked through the emails that you and Stuart had sent me, and one of them was the continental drift, and I'll share my screen right now.
Yeah.
And it looks like, is this like rewinding? Is it going from present day backwards 750 million years ago?
Oh, this is Cotizi. Okay. I mean, I didn't look at this per se because I've seen his stuff before. So that's present for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Reuniting
that's
Gondwana land.
It is uniting Gondwana land and even before then. Yes, it's going backwards, as you can see. The other thing I wanted to tell you about and that you could figure out is that when the meteor Chicxulub or whatever, however you say it,
Yeah.
landed in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
as you can see, Central America and the Caribbean were not there. And
Yeah, so it
So-
looks like you're right that I guess whenever the impact was, so we'll call it 70 million years ago, the Gulf
Yeah.
of Mexico was already established.
oh yeah,
Yeah. So
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
for pointing that out because I was unaware of that last week.
yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to see just how the Gulf of Mexico formed in the first place. So we're just looking how far back into the past we need to go in order to see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this guy Scotese has wonderful animations. This is not the only one.
Mhm.
So look up his YouTube site and
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really interesting how Florida fits in this little crevice made by South America and Africa.
well,
Is that really what's
yeah,
happening there?
sorta. I mean, it's more like it was there to begin with.
Okay.
Just keep going backwards.
Hmm.
But see, up north, where Scandinavia is about to kiss Greenland.
Getting its
Right.
nose knocked out.
Yeah. And that's how the east coast of Greenland and Norway, and also Scotland, which is a little further down, have those incredible mountains.
Ah, interesting.
This is
And-
a famous T-shirt, or a very popular T-shirt through the geology department of the University of Wisconsin, Madison.
Yeah.
Unite Gondwanaland. I have to get the dogs in.
There's a lot of things were more down at the below the equator.
Yeah.
So especially since you're going to be teaching earth science.
Mhm.
Well, it's interesting. Florida is still almost there till just now.
Yeah.
The peninsula of Florida just disappeared.
Yeah.
It was around for 500 million years.
And yet it's like a sandbar.
Mhm.
But there is there's a ridge that goes down the central part of Florida, and I don't know, what the orogeny, the mountain building was of that. So, and then the darker red here are probably Cratons.
Interesting.
You see,
What are Cratons?
Cratons are the original. Well, they started off as metamorphic, but they're like basement rocks that don't get deformed as the continents move around and crash into each other.
Yeah, and it's important to note that like when we go back into the billions of years, that the surface of the earth was completely different. There really wasn't any water on it. Land masses were still kind of, but they didn't really exist yet because most of the crust was in the semi-molten state. And that's why you just see in this video, little fragments of crust floating around. You imagine that lots of the lithosphere is pretty fluid.
Yeah. But what's interesting to me is the length of the days.
Yeah. How it's slowing down.
Is this the Earth?
This is the
This
Earth,
is
yeah.
the Earth. This is the Earth at like 3 billion years ago, going on 3 billion years ago. And the length of the day, actually, it was very fast.
Mhm.
When you get back to the beginning, it's like 4 hours.
And then
Hello, is that Barker?
That's Lila.
Ah. And they don't depict on this this video Snowball Earth.
mhm. Yeah, and I think we had this discussion before whether or not the entire Earth was at one point covered in ice or not.
Maybe 5 times.
Yeah. So there's a difference between ice age, where it's just the polar ice caps sort of expand and then retreat, or whether the entire globe was
Yeah.
covered in an ice sheet.
Yes.
And then you notice like this length of day is changing. It's slowing down because, well, the Earth is being pulled by its new satellite. And I don't remember exactly when the moon was formed. It was probably a couple billion years ago. But, and we'll talk about this later in this meeting, the moon is responsible for slowing the Earth down ever so slightly. And it's on the order of, fractions of.
Oh, here's a glaciation. That's a
There it is.
Snowball Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were there oceans yet?
No, there was it was all molten lava.
Well, but if there's glaciation here, that's ice,
well,
right?
So
Yeah,
yeah, that would have to be water ice.
At this point, there was water. Yeah.
But not oceans. Must be oceans.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all ocean. Yeah.
Or this is all ice?
Yeah.
Was there actually liquid? Was there actually oceans before the glaciation started?
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, like you'll see it turn from this like deep red color to like a blue,
Mhm.
as if this is like where the ocean is now cooler than this. So it's kind of strange how it goes from white, like frozen water, to red, indicating that the crust is still really hot. And then, oh, you see this like blip of blue real quick. Watch.
Mhm.
There it is.
Mhm.
So Sudbury Basin impact, 15-kilometer wide asteroid collided, bringing valuable minerals to the surface.
When they
Was
say
that an
Sudbury
impact, or is
Basin,
that?
are they referring to the what ended up being the part of Ontario north and a little bit east of Lake Superior?
Yeah, that's what it said. I think it was collided with present day Canada.
Because that's Sudbury, Ontario.
Yeah, so that's right. Good connection.
And there's a lot of mining going on there.
Mhm.
Not too much oxygen in the air.
Right. Yeah. So we don't have any photosynthesis yet going on.
The oxygen came from photosynthesis in cyanobacteria. So it'll say in the lower right when that started to appear.
Mhm.
Who put this together?
This is a channel called Algol, ALGOL.
Wow. Never heard of it.
God, and I was watching Don Giovanni on YouTube last night. I am so in love with YouTube.
You know what else you can see on YouTube? Adrian's speech.
Well, I saw it, but it wasn't on YouTube.
No, it was we sent it to you directly.
Yeah.
The other thing you can see on YouTube is Harry Potter, the actor Daniel Radcliffe, reciting very rapidly the entire periodic table from memory.
Wow.
Wow. So what I have not gotten with this is, what is this band of fuzz at the equator?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Because it goes all through,
It might be algae. I think those are algae
No.
blooms.
I
So, and
think
they
that
kind of
you're-
form on the equator, I guess, where it's a little bit warmer.
I think you're talking about something else, about another time period. It doesn't say anywhere, does it?
I was.
Oh,
I guess not.
yeah, it's your screen. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that cloudy band is.
Okay, what's going on?
It may be signs of life, but then again,
I
later
gotta
on it goes away. But this pretty much stays stable for, a billion years. And then we have another ice ball. So there, average temperature going down 20 below 0 Celsius. So 20 degrees below freezing.
Sounds
It went down to like
Wyoming.
40 almost. I'm trying to slow it down a little bit. Do it in slow motion.
Oh, how do you do that?
If you go to the settings
Yeah.
button, you
Yeah.
can go to playback speed,
Ah,
click that, and you can go from quarter to 2 times.
thank you.
So let's see where this happens. 11, 10, 9, 8, 4. It went to -50. Average temperature of the Earth for some period of time is -50 Celsius. I mean, that's a little
Yeah.
bit crazy.
Big deal. You lived in Wyoming.
Oh, yeah, right.
Where are we? What is this? Fahrenheit. Celsius to Fahrenheit.
Warming up. Warming up.
Yeah. There gets to a point.
Oxygen levels going up fast now.
Oh, yeah, there it goes. -40 Celsius is the same thing as -40 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So, okay. And now we're getting recent enough that we have all these divisions in the Earth's timeline. Now plants are coming on land. Now we have all the modern organisms.
on.
32% oxygen.
So what are they calling that now?
Stuart Parker wants to go outside from the,
Yeah, he'll figure out to come over here.
no, he's not. I blocked off the breezeway. Ooh, look at that.
So now it's slightly warmer 60 million years ago, and then starts to cool off in the present day.
And it was India who pushed up the Himalayas.
Yep.
Yes. Continues to do so.
What'd you say?
It continues to do so.
All right. Yeah. So that's pretty much just a wrap up on plate tectonics, which is kind of cool. But what I wanted to talk about for this movie, since it's about satellites going around Earth, and especially repairing satellites. That was the what was the movie about? It reminded me that the Hubble telescope will be retired eventually, and it will be replaced by the James Webb telescope, which is seen here on the left. And I remember mentioning a while back about how these mirrors are constructed, and it's not your typical telescope mirror, which is just like, you know, a concave circle with one solid piece. Instead, this mirror is an array of hexagons. And the reason they do this is so you evenly distribute the load on, I guess, the backing, and you can assemble it and have a much wider surface area without worrying about the glass, you know, buckling in on itself from its weight. And it just looks really beautiful. So I saw this website, you know, this was published today.
Oh,
It's spreading its golden wings, as they like to say, one more time before it heads out to space. So this is going to be launched pretty
in
soon.
India today.
Yeah, India today. And here's just a quick 1-minute clip of what this golden mirror looks like.
Are they doing any of the work in India?
I don't know. I don't think so, because this video is in the Northrop Grumman facility, so that's United States.
Yeah.
But you get a size, you get an idea of how big just one of these hexagons is. It's almost as tall as a person.
So it's formed as a circle and then cut into a hexagon?
Hexagons are arranged like a puzzle into this whatever shape you want to call it.
Right, but each hexagon, does it start off poured as a circle and then cut, the hexagon is cut out of the circle?
Maybe.
Because there was
not quite
something
sure.
earlier.
They may mold it into a hexagon.
What's the material?
So I think this looks like gold or silver in the back. So a mirror is just glass and then some
Got it.
really, really reflective material. I mean, it's golden color. Gold is reflective, but it's not quite as reflective as silver. Silver, I think, is oh wait, I retract that. I'm not sure if silver is the most reflective material, but it's up there. Yeah, that was a quick bite of what this telescope is going to be doing, orbiting the Earth.
Here, see, this is where I got the idea that maybe it started as a circle and then it was cut.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Somebody was talking, was it Dr. Ramsey talking about Mylar mirrors?
Hmm. Yeah, it doesn't really say how they're constructed specifically.
casting. Oh, okay.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So this is almost half the size of a tennis court, James Webb. But yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be way better images than the Hubble.
When are they launching it?
The fall.
In the
Yeah,
fall?
it's proposed later this year. And it's going to be parked at what we talked about, L2, one of the Lagrange points. And also what I wanted to mention is what's going to end up happening to the Hubble Space Telescope, because it's just up there orbiting the Earth and we can't just like take it down safely. So this wiki article says the future of the Hubble will be crash landing into the Earth if we don't reboost it. And so the original plan was to safely deorbit it and retrieve it using the space shuttle, but we can't do that because we don't have a space shuttle anymore.
How far out is it?
The Hubble, I think, is...
Isn't it beyond the moon and the shuttle? I mean, the ISS?
It's
I think
beyond the
it's
ISS.
Yeah.
That's not the distance. Where's altitude? $330 miles. So
it's
3
beyond the
times
shuttle, but-
farther than the ISS.
Yeah, farther than the ISS, but quite a bit closer than the moon.
Yes, yeah. The moon is
240,000.
right, 1,000 times farther than the Hubble. Yeah.
Going back to the moon, when did the moon form actually? Just to finish that one off.
Yeah, giant impact hypothesis. I think it was like 3 billion years ago.
So the Earth didn't have a moon for the first billion years or so?
Oh, no. It was earlier than that. It was right around when Earth formed. So Earth formed and then like briefly, like only 100 million years, Earth didn't have a moon. And then immediately after that, we had a collision with the... So yeah, this is right after the Earth had formed.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it looked like. And yeah, so what I want to talk about next is, so yeah, the Hubble telescope, if it's not reboosted, it will, its orbit will decay and it will come crashing down to Earth. But the moon is going away from us. So the moon, like I mentioned, is slowing the rotation of the Earth down ever so slightly. And we saw that in the animation, how the length of the day was getting longer and longer. And we want to know how fast the moon is moving away.
Aren't there talks and designs for new shuttle type craft being worked on?
Possibly. So
In the
You know, it's
public
like
or
the
private sector?
Concorde. I don't know, and I don't care, but it's like the Concorde. You know, one crash, and the thing is decommissioned.
yeah, I actually heard, that's interesting. A couple of days ago, I went on YouTube and it says the Concorde, or they should say supersonic planes, may be coming back.
Yes, they are. Yeah, New
Is-
York to Los Angeles, and the blink of an eye. Yeah.
Right.
Hypersonic planes from New York to Japan in 2 hours is in the vision.
Wow. Wow. Let's see. From then until the launch of 2020 US. No, that's not what I want. Yeah, this one doesn't say when or if they're coming back, the space shuttle.
Well, they kind of destroyed that last one in the movie in 2001.
Yep.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I hadn't
Yeah,
heard they were
and
coming back, that there was any.
it may not be NASA going up to retrieve the Hubble telescope. Maybe it's another private company who ends up doing it. Like SpaceX is doing way more things than NASA has, like just recently, like the last few years.
When does the Hubble have to be retrieved before it's in danger of falling into the Earth?
Yeah. I think it's got like a few more years.
Well, it has a propulsion system that's keeping it up.
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
think
I didn't think it
has,
had propulsion.
Say again, Stuart?
I didn't think it had any propulsion.
Well,
yeah, I think people have to go up there and boost it.
no, but that
So-
doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have much time left. Like it's within this decade that like 2028.
Oh, that's coming up.
The earliest it will fall back to Earth if it's not reboosted.
And
Somewhere
when the
between
space
20
shuttle, go ahead.
Somewhere between 2028 and 2040 in our
Yeah.
lifetime. That's cool.
Right.
But it's been reboosted, but by when the shuttle repairs it, they reboosted each time, had reboosted it.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be reboosted by much because I think orbital speed is something like 17,000 miles an hour. And over the course of a few years, it drops by maybe, I don't know, tens of miles an hour. So it's really just like a push. It's like a nudge extra.
So the reboosting is more in speed rather than altitude,
Correct. Yes.
rather than perigee.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, you can have any altitude
Mhm.
as long as you're going fast enough.
Right.
Okay, so what I want to do, I want to look at the moon. So the moon recession rate, where did I put that tab? And it's like a few centimeters every single year. And okay, 3.8 centimeters a year.
That it's going
And
away from us.
it's going away from us. Yep, a little over an inch per year. There comes a time when the moon will be so far away from Earth that it won't be able to stabilize the axial tilt. And the Earth will be now more prone to wobbling. And when that happens, you can have really drastic climate shifts. You think about Earth being a spinning top, and the moon is sort of like a string attached to it, making sure it's oriented in the correct angle. So it's tilted at like 23.5 degrees. But then the moon is going to decrease its gravitational influence. And now this top is free to wobble some more. And it could eventually just like keel over entirely. And you know, Africa could be on the South Pole or something.
So what are we
What?
worried about climate change for?
Because, well, this is a few billion years into the future.
When the
And-
sun will be a red giant anyway, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
So around this time, when the moon can no longer stabilize Earth's axial tilt, the sun will have consumed Mercury and Venus and probably Earth by then.
When you
So it's
talk
a matter of
about
what's coming first.
the chicken or the egg, the 3.8 centimeter per year
Mhm.
reminds me of the growth of a nerve cell.
Ah, interesting.
1 millimeter per, is it month, Deb? Nerves grow at 1 millimeter per month,
No, I think it's faster than that.
a week.
Maybe a week. Nerves, hair, everything.
Oh, hair is much faster than nerves.
And fingernails are pretty quick too. Fingernails, interestingly, grow 4 times faster than toenails.
Oh, really? That
Yep.
explains something.
Well, that's not surprising,
Yeah,
considering my experience trimming them.
right.
Huh.
Or how much they sit in shoes and socks and away from oxygen and light.
Good, yeah, good point.
Well, I would think it has more to do with blood supply,
Perhaps.
but maybe the trauma.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, yeah, there's our moon, our only natural satellite. This picture I actually got.
One question. So
Go ahead.
what it said in that, when you're highlighting that, the tidal, in other words, what causes the recession of the moon from the earth? It said something about the tidal breaking. What does that mean?
Tidal friction.
Yeah. So this happens with basically all satellites, anything that's orbiting another body, is both bodies are spinning. And when you have gravitational interaction, because they're next to each other, you end up working against the rotation. And this causes some friction. And it's a concept called tidal heating. And you see this on Jupiter's moon Io. Jupiter's moon Io is the closest moon to Jupiter. Because it's so close, the tidal forces, which is simply just gravity acting more strongly on the near side than on the far side of the satellite, it creates some friction because the moon is spinning and gravity is like slowing it down, like grinding it to a halt. And you have this opposing force. It explains, or that's an explanation for why Io is so volcanically active. Io has a lot of volcanoes because it's really close to Jupiter, spinning around, and Jupiter's tugging on the near side of Io more than the far side. This acts like brakes on a car, which creates friction, and friction is heat. And we see that in Io's volcanism.
Do we see that on the Earth? Are there forces working on the Earth's volcanic action?
A little bit. It's not quite as dramatic as Io, but we see it every day. If you just go to the beach, you watch the tides come in and out, and that's because the Earth is being literally squeezed and stretched, and that motion is displacing water, and it comes in and then goes out as Earth is like bulging back and forth.
Right.
So that stretching and squeezing while something is rotating creates friction.
But
I
do
think
we have, is there
there-
any lunar influence, or is there other influence on why we would have volcanic action on the Earth?
There is discussion about an earthquake season among geologists,
Okay.
which would have to do with the moon and with the tilt and with
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point. So if the moon and sun are at opposition, for example, if there's a full moon, pretend my head is the earth
yeah.
and this is the moon, they're pulling at opposite ends, and now the planet is being stretched more than if it were, let's say, first quarter up here, and now there's not so much bulge going on. And so yeah, that could be a very reasonable explanation for why earthquakes are more likely at one time than another.
Okay,
So
so
why-
Joanne,
why-
nerves grow at 1 millimeter a day.
1 millimeter a day?
Yes,
Oh, much faster than I had. Okay.
yeah.
So why does, with all this tidal friction, I'm still not getting the concept of the moon being pushed away from the earth.
Oh, yeah, they're not related. Like the moon is going away because just by chance, I think. Because like when the early solar system formed, everything was flying around and few stable, I guess you could call them relationships, orbits formed, but nothing lasts forever.
Hmm. So you're saying by chance it could have been that the moon would be getting closer and closer to Earth and eventually crashing
Right,
into it.
and that's what's happening with Mars and its moons. Both of Mars's moons are actually coming in.
Mm.
Deimos and Phobos are coming closer, and eventually they'll disintegrate and either form a ring around Mars, or they'll just crash into the surface.
Wow.
But
So
yeah,
they're going
Mars
in and
is-
ours is going out.
that's right. Yeah,
Interesting.
at least that's what I've
Hmm.
learned.
Yeah, and I would just, the earthquake season actually has to do with the water that falls in different seasons, the rain, because
Oh,
it gets absorbed and goes down into the earth and changes the consistency of the crust, so it's easier to move it around.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not, it doesn't have to do with, it does have to do with the seasons, but it's not the moon per se.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The final
What else
thing-
about the movie?
Oh yeah. So, what I've gotten from this is it wasn't like as thrilling as a lot of the other movies, but I like this. I like the plot. It, followed a nice progression. It wasn't overdone like a lot of these movies with aliens and like a billion things going
There
on.
were no slimy arms coming out.
Yeah.
Ugh,
This
yeah.
is a very easy movie to watch. I enjoyed
It's
it. quite a bit.
evidenced by my presence here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But they didn't catch the Russian and the PR man at espionage, which they should have.
Mhm.
Right.
What about the issue of Tommy Lee Jones ending up on Mars, on the moon? Is that
Oh,
that possible?
Why did he have to accompany the rockets?
He had to activate it, I thought, right?
Oh, yeah.
He
Kind
had
of
to
like
activate-
Bruce Willis the week before with Armageddon.
Yeah, he had to activate it and steer it away from Earth. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan,
Mhm.
he had to activate it, steer it away from Earth, or steer it away from Earth, then activate it. And the trajectory was to put him on the moon.
Yeah.
The idea
the
that he
way-
could get there before he died seems a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's not. It depends like how fast you go. I I think he could have made it before his death. It wouldn't take, ages to get there, but in order to get, like, let's say from low Earth orbit to the moon, you're only changing your velocity. So instead of 17,000 miles an hour, you're now increasing it to whatever the escape velocity of Earth. And then once you escape Earth, then you're just in orbit around the sun. And you're just expanding your orbit. And eventually you can intercept, whatever body you want, in this case, the moon.
Well, how much oxygen did he have? I mean, it would take a couple days.
Oh, okay. So in terms of oxygen, then yeah, I'm not really sure.
But
I couldn't tell you.
There was the way it seems to me.
I was thinking just in like time in general.
Yeah. He would. Yeah, as you need 3 days of oxygen for him.
That's a lot.
It seemed
yeah.
like they were using oxygen as a propellant, as a not explosive, but what?
As an explosive?
Not as
Propellant.
an explosive.
When they were moving around space, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
And why?
He didn't
why
have a
waste
lot of
good
oxygen left. And that's my understanding, is he did not have a lot of oxygen available. In fact, it wouldn't have been enough for them to work on the thing and have him come back and join the rest of the guys. So he made the choice, because he was terminally ill, to sacrifice himself to go up to the thing, use enough oxygen to do what he had to do and get to the moon.
And and what was your take on just like his, I guess, prediction? Do you think he was going to make it to the moon like alive and land safely? Because you would need like proper landing gear and exactly where to go on the surface, or do you just want to like intercept the moon? I mean, that's different.
That's in the prequel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prequel or the sequel or the combo quill.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. The small print.
She would have to promise, the woman would have to promise not to have another boyfriend for him to do that. But the point is, he got there and he was peacefully in repose.
Yeah.
Pose up, as we say.
Pose
Right.
up.
Pose up on the moon.
Yeah.
How did you guys get out? Huh? Stuart, how are they getting out?
Because all the doors are open.
Oh.
So
But
what
I
else
wanted-
about the movie?
So my other slide actually, 1 second here. Since it was like going up to space and repairing satellites, it's sort of just like an aside. But it's something I wanted to share really quickly, is that 2 months ago, I attempted to launch and land my GoPro camera. And I got this picture. This picture
Really?
I took, with my GoPro. And
How
this
high did
video
you
I
get?
uploaded. So I sent it up to about 80,000 feet
Wow.
using a weather balloon. So there I am.
Uh-huh.
This is back in Arizona. And I used like a styrofoam cooler, and I had a battery pack, the GoPro sticking out, and there was a parachute attached. Filled it up with helium and let it go. And there's a GPS tracker in that cooler that allowed me to find it 6 hours later.
This is better than Deb's Apple Watch.
Yeah, it definitely is. 80,000 feet.
Mhm.
Is this legal?
Yes. The payload was under 4 pounds. So even though it's an unregulated balloon, you can still do it.
Wow.
And I made sure like the airspace was clear also.
This is astounding.
No Air Force One around, no Air Force Two.
This is incredible pictures you got.
Wow.
Where in Arizona is this?
This is just south of Tucson.
Wow.
So Tucson's like out in the distance over to the left.
And it's near Mexico, so the Mexican drug lords didn't shoot it down thinking you were
Oh, you know
spying
what?
on
It
them?
actually landed pretty close to the Mexican border. It was only like 30 miles away. So I
Whoa.
got very lucky that it didn't cross over. But it ended
Well,
up.
don't give them any funny ideas for drug trafficking. Isn't 80,000 feet common for like a weather balloon?
Yes. Yeah, this was a 300-gram balloon. So the diameter was maybe 12 feet.
Hmm.
And you filled it with helium?
Yeah, and the helium I just got from a balloon store, like a party store.
Yeah. And the helium itself expands as the atmospheric pressure decreases?
Interestingly, it doesn't. Well, yes, the balloon expands, but it rises at the same rate. And now I'm just fast forwarding here
Yeah.
because the total flight is like 6 hours, but I condensed it to just like a half hour. And so I'll fast forward. This is like getting up where you can sort of see the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah. Show
Can you
that
see
to those fat-
Camelback?
What was that?
Can you see Camelback in Phoenix?
Oh, I'm not sure actually. So this is going east from Tucson. So I'm not sure if I was able to see Phoenix. And I think I'm just like too high up to begin with.
You see,
But you
is
see a
that
lot of,
Kitt's
like-
Peak there? Was that Kitt's Peak there? With the
Oh, one of them, yeah.
observatory?
One of them is definitely Kitt's Peak, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of see like the sod farms, these little circles here.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then,
And you can appreciate what is called in geology basin and range.
yep.
Yeah.
And so right around
Oh, it's fantastic.
23 minutes, this is like the max altitude right here, and it will burst momentarily.
It bursts?
Yeah. So I got that captured also.
So it bursts because it's expanded beyond the tensile strength of the balloon?
There it is. Yep.
Wow.
And you expected that.
Yes. And so now the parachute's open. It's dangling now. There's not very much air for it to grab onto, but this floats down to Earth safely.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a while, and it's sort of like sunset now. So
When
this
are
you kind
going
of,
up with it?
what was that?
When are you going up there with it?
Oh, not for a while, if at all.
So it
But,
didn't break because it's still floating down. Is it still a parachute effect?
So the parachute was already like strung to the cooler. The parachute was like held up by the balloon. It was being pulled taut. And once the balloon popped, the parachute like immediately opened.
Spread out.
Oh, so the parachute was there the whole time. So it came down
Yes.
unharmed?
That's right. Yep.
Wow.
So
How long did
there's
it take to come? And now we're going to watch it come down?
Yeah. So this is now descending. And you kind of appreciate like the sunset, how it's really just the Earth turning away from the sun. And so now this is in New Mexico, just in the middle of nowhere. Slowly coming to the ground.
How far do you have to drive to get it from where you started?
I drove 3 hours. So it was like 250 miles.
Wow.
How'd you know where it was? It has a GPS system?
GPS, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So did you drive that night so no one would scarf it?
No, I drove early in the morning. I figured nobody would be anywhere near this because it's just really in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was public land. You weren't like on a
Yeah, I wasn't.
no public land.
Yeah, there was road access, and I got there no problem. I only had to hike maybe like a mile or two.
Wow.
I got really lucky, to be honest. This is a very fortunate result, and I put a few months of planning of this. I was out like in front of my house doing like drop tests with the cooler. I was driving around with my GPS to make sure I always got a signal.
When did you put that on YouTube?
2 months ago, March 7th.
And how many hits have you gotten?
I only got like 600 views.
650.
Yeah.
It would seem like a lot of people would be interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not a very famous YouTuber, but yeah, plenty of other people have done this.
But if you know, a lot of
Change
people
that.
that aren't famous, their stuff all of a sudden goes viral without them
Right.
being famous.
Yeah, haven't gone viral yet. Maybe I'll do something even crazier.
Yeah.
But how does it go viral? How does it go from just 650 viewers to all of a sudden? Because it would seem to me that millions of people would like to see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like how you get the word out. I guess if you post like a really
A little
eye-catching
national
thumbnail or
television
title.
exposure, a little national or state television exposure, Ryan.
But
Yes.
then you'd have a million balloons up there, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
you'll be launched or you'll be hauled in by NASA.
Better to
Very
be
impressive. Very impressive.
Very,
Thank you.
very.
Wow.
Look at that. Yeah. So as I was writing your site down, I saw a note from last week. The Chinese space station,
Mhm.
you can apparently see it with the naked eye.
Oh, is that so? Well, I mean,
And-
you can see the International Space Station and plenty other satellites with the naked eye.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
you can.
yeah.
So I was looking at my tracking satellites app, and
Mhm.
there I couldn't find it on it, even just tracking it with or without a naked eye. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you know what it's called, like we call the ISS the ISS. What do they call
Oh.
it that you could track it?
Oh, if there's like a call sign for the
Yeah.
Chinese, let me see.
I mean, it's got its Chinese name, Tianhe or something, but that didn't do it.
Oh, I see.
And then I put in what, Chinese space station, and that didn't do it.
Oh yeah,
Anyway, what-
Tianhe.
Tianhe, yeah.
These guys are going nuts. I'm gonna have to take them out for a run.
All right.
Poor doggies.
So,
But-
did you guys
Yeah.
just see the landing of the GoPro?
Are you asking the dogs?
I'm asking you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still have it with you in New Jersey, the GoPro.
Yep, everything got recovered perfectly. Mhm.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So you can just
Wow.
buy those balloons, those weather balloons?
Yeah,
What,
you
on
can buy them
Amazon?
online there's a website called High Altitude Science, and I got it for $35.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was impressive what you did with them.
Great science project. I love it.
Yeah. So I haven't found like a spot the Tianhe space station. I don't know if they have like a tool where you can track it.
No, I didn't ask Mr. Google. I just, went to my satellite site.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long have you been thinking up that project, Ryan?
Oh, a couple of years actually. And it was only until maybe like January of this year where I started like buying everything and putting stuff together and finding a good day to launch.
You have to watch the weather a lot.
Yeah. And it was really useful. I used this app called Weather Balloon Flight Predictor, and you can enter in your coordinates and it will give you estimated trajectory. You type in your burst altitude and ascent rate, and it will tell you approximately where it will land.
And did you know what the burst altitude would be?
Yeah, I estimated to be 90,000 feet.
By what
Just
sort
the
of
specs
thing?
of the balloon.
Uh,
So like a 300-gram balloon is rated to go up to 30,000 meters or so.
yeah. And they tell you how much helium to put in at your Tucson altitude?
Yep. Mhm.
But Tucson is what, 8,000 feet up? Is that right?
No, it's only like 1,200. It's only like 2,000 feet. Only like 2,000 feet.
Oh, it's like the Midwest. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're going to use that a lot when you teach school.
Yeah, I'll make it
You'll be
a
famous for that.
science
That's
project for my
A science
students.
project for the kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except
yeah.
this, it's probably a lot more flights going over wherever. Where are you going to be in Florida?
Probably Melbourne. I think that's most likely.
So
Where I'll
that's a
be
little
teaching.
bit north of Cape Kennedy, right?
South of Cape Canaveral.
Yeah. What's in Melbourne for you?
So Melbourne is where I went to grad school in
Uh-huh.
Florida Tech. And I work with a middle school that's in Melbourne right now. I do virtual tutoring, and I'm trying my best to secure a job at that school. That's what I'm doing right now.
Did you say that was north of Cocoa Beach?
South.
No, Melbourne is a little bit south of Cocoa
Little bit
Beach.
south.
It's like 40 minutes south.
Cocoa Beach is a good beach. The community is kind of weird, but the beach is great.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to go. I'll see you
All
next
right,
week.
Stuart.
he's
See
got
you
a
later.
couple. He's got a couple patients. So
See you.
Bye, Stuart.
when the students see this, they're going to go nuts.
Oh, I did. I showed my students that I tutor virtually, and they were blown away. They loved it.
Oh, I mean, once this gets out to a number of students, you're going to see science project after science project after science project.
Oh yeah.
Because
It'll be
it's not
tough
like
though
you're-
to do one of
What?
these launches in Florida though,
Yeah.
because chances are it'll go in the ocean.
Well, it'll go in the ocean and the airspace is much more congested.
Yeah. So
Uh,
may have
I
to
can see it.
take a field trip maybe.
A senior field trip to Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
uh,
Interesting.
Aren't there are cosmic rays student studies sending up balloons all the time, right? You see that on spaceweather.com.
I wouldn't be surprised. And like weather balloons, like normal weather balloons go up twice a day just to read all of the atmospheric conditions.
For NOAA.
Right. Yep.
So where do they launch from? What part of the world?
I think it's really everywhere, like all around the globe, Asia, Europe, Africa.
So there are
Yeah.
many of them going up.
Yeah, definitely. All over the world.
Yeah. So they are weather balloons by name, right?
Yes.
I mean, NOAA has stations like we have, what, 15 of them in Wyoming and Idaho. We got Riverton, Pocatello, whatever. But there's these quadrants on the Earth that have radar on them for NOAA. And I would imagine, and they're all NOAA instrumented, all NOAA instrumentation for the radar.
It's true.
Because I follow
We
it.
were on the wrong side of the earth
What do you mean?
today because there was a huge actually it's still going on. Aurora, a CME hit.
A CME hit? What do you
Yeah.
mean, CME?
Coronal mass ejection from the sun a few days ago.
So the auroras are very
the-
visible in the north of us.
Well, Yeah, at the moment, they're more over Quebec. But and earlier in the day, it was when it really hit, but that's when it was night in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I grew up with Aurora Borealis constantly in northern Minnesota. And the year
yeah,
1970 was particularly striking because we would see the aurora every night out in the Boundary Waters canoe area. Every single night, about 10:30, the aurora would come up, just like the Johnny Carson show would come on. And
Yeah.
we would always position ourselves out on the rocks at a lake, open, because there'd be a breeze and no mosquitoes. And we'd watch the aurora come out, and then we'd be up all night watching the stupid sky go by.
yeah,
Then
that's wonderful.
in 71 and 72, we had wild April Aurora Borealis.
I remember only one time ever in Jackson Hole seeing aurora, and it wasn't with my naked eye, but it was through a camera. And I was just out in the middle of the night taking astrophotography, and I had maybe a 20-second exposure on. And I look at the picture after I took it, and I see just a faint little green glow
Yeah,
on the horizon. I was like, wow, I really think I captured the aurora.
yeah,
One night we were out in Kelly having, when Adrian was, I remember, 18 months old, we were having dinner with Justin and some other characters. And it was late March, and on the way home, she was in absolute screaming tears because she was developing some kind of UTI or ear infection. That's what it was. And but in driving home from Kelly and then coming back up this hill, we had the most intense flashes of red. This was late
Yeah.
March.
Wow.
Would have been 2000, sometime in later 2000 or something, or 2001. And it was,
it's about
Yeah.
2001.
yeah,
It was, yeah, it was a peak year. And I remember I was in Idaho
yeah. And it
getting
was
out of
just-
my car. It was
Yeah.
like there was a red ribbon tying a knot in the middle of the sky.
Exactly. And it was red flashes. They were going up and down, and they were
Yeah.
all over the sky.
Yeah.
And coming up our hill was unbelievable because we had a screaming, kid in the back of the car and who was suffering. And then we had this amazing light show.
Good news in the bed. So, Ryan, do you want to explain the Russell McPherson effect or the Russell Pearson effect?
Russell Pearson?
Yeah,
Russell Pearson McFect.
yeah. That whether or not you're in the proper time of the solar cycle, you tend to have more auroras around the equinoxes.
That
I
makes
wonder if
And
that's because,
It's because the Earth is more upright in its tilt with respect
Yeah.
to the sun. So the geometry of the magnetic fields permits more CMEs to enter.
why wouldn't it be then for just the northern summer? Why wouldn't that be more activity?
Look it up, Russell Pearson, PH.
Because I've never heard that actually.
Hmm.
I believe it, yeah. I mean, because aurora is
It's
just charged particles from the sun.
It has to do with the geometry of the Earth during the equinoxes.
because it's straight up and down.
It's relatively straight up and down.
It's passing
Okay.
through that.
You know what? I will definitely research this, and this will be the first thing we talk about next Wednesday because I'm really intrigued.
Me too.
Yeah, good, because I need it explained more than I just explained it to you.
Okay. We'll
So
do
what's
it.
the movie? That's the next part.
Yeah, movie that will be sent out tomorrow. Usually I don't
Okay.
have the next
Yes.
one like on the day
Yeah.
of. It's usually the
It's
day
okay.
after. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yep,
It's
I'll send
okay.
out an email just like normal.
No
Yeah,
slimy
yeah.
arms, okay?
What?
No slimy arms.
No slimy arms.
No slimy arms.
Although, did you realize that one of the Oscar nominees was My Teacher, the Octopus? It was a movie about an octopus who was teaching the author. And the movie it's not an animation, it's like a documentary type movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I haven't seen it though. But
yeah.
octopusi are supposed to be very intelligent, super intelligent.
Octopi. Yeah, octopi.
Yeah.
And it documents this octopus teaching this guy God knows what. Other than that, no slimy arms.
Yeah.
Spaceships exploding, no problem.
Well, yeah, something. Yeah, something that isn't, a Ridley Scott nightmare.
You have two old ladies here, okay? I have to go get these dogs out. They are driving me crazy.
right.
Sophie's on her own outside.
Well, these guys can't. So I'm gonna leave and thank you very much. This
And
was-
thank
Of
you
course.
very much.
Yeah,
No problem.
Nice. Oh, wait, Ryan, I have a little business to discuss with Owen.
oh,
Okay.
what's that?
Okay, so Stuart and I, after Adrian's